This is the one you've been waiting for, a huge battery test of all these flagship phones from their respective brands. We have the Huawei P30 Pro, the K20, the K20 Pro, the OnePlus 7 Pro, the Xiaomi Mi 9, and the Oppo Reno 10x Zoom Edition. Location services, GPS, Wi-Fi, and NFC, if available, are all switched on. The P30 Pro has been switched to performance mode. The OnePlus 7 Pro is on 90 Hz. It's capable of higher resolution, but I've chosen HD to keep it fair, considering the main selling point of the OnePlus 7 Pro is that 90 Hertz screen, and most people would use that. I think it's better to have it on in this case, but I haven't chosen the full HD plus resolution on that one. First off is Antutu 3 times back to back. I want to get an idea of how these processors handle that load. You can see the Reno actually throttles back the processor quite a lot. The K20 Pro and the Mi 9 keep pretty high scores on that benchmark, even on the third go. So after those 3 benchmark runs, the Xiaomi Mi 9 looks like it's suffering a little bit. It's got the same processor as most of the other phones, but that smaller battery is going to hold it back. Moving on to Jianyu Lunhui, I don't know the English name of this game or if it has an English version. It's an action adventure game. It's pretty taxing on the system. And after just half an hour of playing that game, the batteries are starting to wear. Both the OnePlus 7 Pro and the Xiaomi Mi 9 seem to be faring the worst out of the bunch. But that's not surprising. The Mi 9 has a small battery, and with the OnePlus 7 Pro, you're getting that 90 Hz screen, which none of the other smartphones give you. Another half an hour or so of playing this game, and we'll see where we're at. But patterns are starting to emerge. We're looking at the OnePlus 7 Pro and the Mi 9 here, probably going to be first to drop out, but there is still a long way to go. 1 hour 30 into the test, and let's switch it up and watch some Bilibili. This is the Chinese version of YouTube, although it's not as good. And the Xiaomi Mi 9 is first to break into the 60s. Not long behind though is the OnePlus 7 Pro. The K20 non-Pro variant is holding up really well in this test, although it does have a lower powered chip than the rest of the phones. Moving on to 4K video recording on all of these devices, we're going to do that for 30 minutes in total. After I've recorded 30 minutes of 4K video, we're then going to put that video into Xiaoying, or KineMaster I think is the English name, and export that video over and over again for half an hour. Moving on to a slightly less taxing game, this football management simulation game, but we can see the Xiaomi Mi 9's smaller battery just isn't faring that well against the bigger batteries of the other phones. It's got a full 700 mAh disadvantage over most of the other Snapdragon powered phones in this test. It's high powered, you can see that by the Antutu scores, but it just has a smaller battery. The Reno really does throttle back that processor when it's under a load. That's better for the battery, it gives you a slightly decreased performance. You can see the K20 is just much less powerful than the other phones. Going through Weibo for about half an hour, this will simulate your social media viewing throughout the day, but we're getting close to the end for the Xiaomi Mi 9. Just 3% on that Xiaomi Mi 9 now, followed by the OnePlus 7 Pro, but the OnePlus 7 Pro still has 20%. In any case, just look at the time, 5 hours. This is by no means a bad score. 5 hours of continuous heavy usage with that smaller battery. I think the Xiaomi Mi 9 has held up really well. In my day-to-day usage, the P30 Pro gave me some really great battery life, but I usually let the phone decide when and where to use battery saving modes. If you stick it on performance mode, then it has a similar battery life to the other phones in this test. Moving on, I will download a game from each of the respective app stores and give it a play. And we'll also just play some Subway Surfers as well. These games aren't incredibly taxing, but hopefully it will simulate day-to-day use. Back watching videos now, and these phones are all at 20% or less. It's a race between the OnePlus 7 Pro and the P30 Pro as to who's next. And after a while of watching videos, it seems like the OnePlus 7 Pro has finally given up. Not very far behind at all though is the P30 Pro. Just keep in mind that that has a Kirin 980 chipset, and not the Snapdragon 855 as a lot of the other phones. Another 3 rounds of Antutu finally brought the K20 Pro to its knees. A very, very good performance from that phone, lasting 7 hours. Incredible. And getting to the end now, that is quickly followed by the Oppo Reno. The Reno has a slightly bigger screen and a ever so slightly bigger battery too. But I'm really, really impressed with how long that phone lasted. And so it ends. We have a winner. It is the K20 non-Pro variant. A very, very big battery in this phone, 4,000 milliamp hours, coupled with a lower powered mid-range chip, the 730 from Snapdragon. A big battery with a low powered chip is always going to win a battery test. The Mi 9 was the first to go. It just simply has a small battery compared to the other phones with a high powered chipset. The K20 Pro lasted very, very well with that Snapdragon 855, but was just beaten by the Oppo Reno. And there we have it, the winner, the K20. If you want long battery life, then this may be the phone for you.